Welcome to Rhythm and Roads. I'm your host, Joshua Jacob. We have a very special guest. We have Director of Starcross, Georgia Townsend. Welcome, Georgia.
Oh, thank you for having me.
No, yeah, pleasure to have you on Rhythm and Roads. And congratulations on winning the award for that film, Starcross, at the Las
Thank
Cruces
you.
International Film Fest. Yeah. Well, I do want to start with your journey on where you're from, and we can go from there.
Yes, so I am from Brisbane, Australia,
Also,
and grew up there, spent my whole life there, and then I went to the United States for university. So that's how I ended up here because I got recruited for tennis. So joined the tennis team at New Mexico State, joined the film program, and then I guess the whole film journey started there.
wow. And so with tennis, I want to go back to tennis though. Well, I actually want to ask you this. So how was your transition from Australia to the US? Were you like nervous? I mean, it's a whole different country. It's like a new start. I mean, just how was your emotions going through all that new chapter for you?
Yeah, I was so nervous because I didn't know anyone here before moving. I'd never seen the school. I literally had a couple of phone calls with the coach, with the head of the CMI department, and just went for it. And also through my school life in Australia, I had spent the entire time prep to 12 at the one school, and it was a very small school.
Oh,
And
okay.
so at MSU looked so large. I was like, I've never had the new school experience. I've never had this many students before. But I was just so excited for that new experience. I'm like, you know what? Like, so many different opportunities can happen over here. I'm going to meet so many people. So
Right.
I was really just overall excited to go for it.
Wow.
And honestly, to this day, it is still one of the best decisions I ever made.
That's awesome. That's so cool. And I'm glad that, excuse me, I'm glad that you took that risk on coming out here to the US and going to NMSU, you know? Because sometimes fear can stop you from doing so much and or the what ifs and all that. But I'm glad that it worked out in the end. So that's awesome. So with tennis, because you brought up tennis, what's going on with that? Are you still playing tennis? Are you
So I still play a little bit now, but I did graduate last year. So my time on the
okay?
team ended when I graduated. But I still, because I'm still in Las Cruces, I still keep up with a lot of the girls on the team, have hits with
Okay.
them every now and then. And so tennis will always be part of my life, just not as much as it was the last however many years.
Right. Okay. Now, the interest for film, how did that start when you did go to NMSU? Like, where was the spark of that?
Well, I've always been interested in film, but I've never really gone for it before coming to the States. So when I was speaking to my coach to start the whole process of coming here,
Yeah.
she was mentioning the different programs that NMSU has, and there was a really good film program
Mm.
that she mentioned, and she got me in touch with Amy, who is the head of CMI,
Oh
and I
yeah.
had
Yeah.
Zoom calls with her. And immediately from speaking with her, I knew, oh, this is what I want to do. Like, there are so many different ways I could go with it. And so I applied for the program, got in, and honestly, ever since the first class, I've loved it. It's been so much fun. And I'm so glad I chose that path.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. I'm glad. And it's very interesting how even with your transition from Australia to the US, you never would have thought that you would have been into film. Or that, first was tennis, that was the thoughts of that, and then all of a sudden you came here. But that's what I've been talking to my guests a lot is it's just sometimes when you don't plan it and things happen like it has, that's when you know it's meant for you because you transitioning, you weren't like, oh, when I get to the US, I'm gonna do film. You know what I mean? It's just there's certain doors that are waiting for you once you arrive that you never thought you would ever enter, just like
Mhm.
film. So that's really cool.
Yeah, and I had started my US journey at a different school in California. Same
Oh,
thing with
okay.
tennis, but I was only there for a little bit because then COVID hit.
Mm,
But I was sports science degree, and
okay.
I'd considered going into film, but I hadn't truly made up my mind. And so when COVID hit, I was looking at transferring, and that's when I had the call with Amy, and that really solidified the fact that I wanted to do film and wanted to go for it.
Oh wow, I didn't know that part. So when you
Yep,
were
so
in
nearly
LA,
didn't do it.
yeah. So when you were in LA, you didn't have no interest for film, right?
Well, I was in Northern California,
Or
so
no?
still the whole
Okay.
California scene. It's not that I didn't have an interest for it, it's just that the school I was at didn't have a huge
Opportunity
film
for that.
program like we have here. And so I just didn't know much about it. I wasn't really exposed to it. And so I didn't know it was something that I could do. And so as soon as I found out that that was an option I had, I was like, why not go for it? Like the perfect time to do it.
Right. That's awesome. No, I'm glad it worked out. And so now the few years that you were into film, you went through CMI, I take it, and you got to know so much incredible skilled actors and just filmmakers and everyone. So what was the transition from that point of like your first project? You remember your first project that you did? You want to talk about it? Of like
Yes, it
project?
was in I think it was in cinematography one class,
Mm.
one of our homework assignments that we actually did together. Um, with there was a whole group of us, and it was the first time ever like touching an actual cinema camera. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is so expensive, all the equipment I'm holding. And that was all I was thinking the entire time.
Yeah.
But I had so much fun, and I think that class and those projects we did really solidified the idea that like, hey, I could totally do something with this. Like this is a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
Oh, cool. Yeah. And then from there, do you remember your first project ever that you did? Like the actual short film?
Oh.
Or one of them throughout the 3 or 4 years?
I think the first like major
Yeah.
project I ever did
Right.
was I was the director of photography joint with another classmate, Aidan Williams, on an MCP called Detention Connection.
Oh, okay.
And so that was the year before I did Starcrossed, and that was my first time being on like an actual like major
Oh, wow.
set. And I was like, there's so many people here, like I have a pretty big role in this. And that was such a fun experience. Absolutely loved it. Learned a lot
No, I
because
bet.
I was like I'm new here, like I don't really know what I'm doing, but that was a lot of fun and definitely a highlight.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm glad. And then, so the idea of Starcross, this is yours as everyone else's project that was on the team. How did the idea of this coming about of Starcross?
So essentially, we did it through like a mixed class production. So I was in the directing class, and
Okay.
from the get-go, I knew I wanted to do a rom-com. That
Oh,
was what I always wanted to do, and I knew I wanted it to be inspired by like the late 90s, early 2000s rom-com style.
yeah.
And so we partnered up with a screenwriting class. So we got presented a variety of different scripts, and I saw Star-Crossed. And immediately from the first read, I was like, this is one. This
Wow.
is what I'm
That's all,
doing.
man.
And so then I partnered with the writer, Julian Galvan, who was also in the directing class with me. And we just had so much fun coming up with different ideas, finding ways to make all the different characters shine. And it just grew from there.
Just like that, huh?
Mhm.
Well, congrats to you and your team on winning. That's a big,
Thank you.
yeah. I do want to get into a little bit more of the transition of I guess getting adjusted to life of just moving here, but then also going through school. One thing about Rhythm and Roads, the podcast, is that it's, we like to also address how do you overcome obstacles? How do you overcome certain self-doubt, insecurities, because we all deal with that, even filmmakers and actors and everyone. But for your experience, for those that are watching, what was your journey like? So, like, whenever something came up from, like, was it a smooth transition from Australia to the US? Was there any obstacles in that chapter, or was your family, very supportive, but was it very hard to leave your family and friends back home? Because I mean, it's a big change. So sometimes that itself can stop you. Like, I don't want to leave my family. I don't want to leave my friends. But if you want to share a bit of that.
It was definitely a tough transition at first because, I mean, growing up as a tennis player, I'd done a lot of traveling. So I'd left my family for time periods, but never
Oh,
for more than a month.
okay.
And so at this point, I was like, well, I'm going over and I'm not going to see everyone for a year minimum because that was when COVID had just lifted
Oh, okay.
the restrictions, but Australia was still locked down. So I wasn't going to be able to go home for the first Christmas.
Oh, wow.
And so I was like, wow, this is a big jump. Like I'm
Yeah.
leaving everything I know. I don't know anyone here. Um, but honestly, it wasn't as tough as I thought it would be because I was so busy. I
Mm.
think that's what my whole thing was. Like, I had tennis every day, had classes. Everyone was so incredibly nice and supportive here that I just made so many incredible friends, and that definitely helped. But there still are moments that you think back, like, wow, like you see all your friends back home and what they're doing, and you think, well, what would I be doing if I hadn't chosen this and I'd stayed home? Like, would I be closer with my
Mm,
family? Would I be doing a completely different career path?
mm,
But I just kind of learned that you can't look at the what ifs.
mm.
Like, you can't reflect back. You got to say, hey, I made this decision. I have so many incredible opportunities. I'm going to make the most of it. And like it still does get hard, like missing like birthdays. I had my brother's birthday yesterday and I was
Mm.
like, oh, wish I could have been there. It was his 21st, a big one.
Oh, that is a big one.
Yeah. But you kind of go, well, I'm gonna see them again.
Yeah,
So I'll be able to celebrate in the future. And what I'm doing now is really something that I'm loving to do. And so I know that they're happy for me
right.
and it's all been worth it.
That's awesome. And that's the thing too, is as long as you have a great support system from family and
Mhm.
friends, yes, you are gonna miss birthdays, holidays, and certain things, but they still love you. They're still proud of you. They're still happy for you. You know, it's like I bet they were extremely happy you winning for Starcross. Like, oh man, they're
Yes.
celebrating up there.
Mhm. I FaceTimed them and I was like, look, and they were so excited. We're both at work, but they didn't care. They were like, we're going now.
That,
But
that's
mm.
cool. Did they have the chance to see the film? Like, were you able to send them like a link?
They did. Well, we had my graduation week. We kind of have a showcase through
Oh, I
CMI
see.
to show all the different mixed class production films. And so they were able to be there because they were coming from my graduation.
Oh,
So
that's
that was really exciting that they were able to see something that I've been working on and meet the people that were on my crew and the people I'm surrounded with. So
That's awesome.
that
Well, I'm
was a
glad they
really
were, yeah, able to come to the States and check it out. That's awesome.
Mhm.
So what's next for you? What's next for Georgia on just future projects? Anything in the works?
I have a couple projects coming up. A couple of projects I'm joining on as camera team.
Okay.
Um, and then, but I do want to start writing.
Mm.
I've done a little bit of writing in the past, but I think directing Starcrossed really made me realize how much I just love being part of the full progress from like pre-production to
Oh,
post-production.
wow.
And
Okay.
so I think I'm going to try and write and direct something else.
Okay.
I don't know whether it will be here or whether it will be back home in Australia because I'm looking at probably returning back home
Oh,
mid
you
to end of
are.
the year.
Oh, wow.
Yes, yes, which will be mixed emotions as well. But I do want to make something and just see what I can do and what I can come up with.
Wow. Is this exclusive news on the podcast you sharing you might want to go home?
No,
Yeah.
no. I've loved the United States and I've had so many opportunities, but um, end of my time here is coming because I've graduated and used that year of work experience. So it's now time for me to return home. But I'm always going to try and come back. Like I'm always going to be looking for ways to see people. Um, it's only a flight away, as everyone always tells me. So I'll be back.
All right. And when do you plan on moving? Is there?
And probably middle of
Oh, wow.
July-ish.
Very soon. Oh,
I
wow.
know. I know.
Well, I hope that everything works out for you when you go back home to direct up there and just who knows what the film crew. I mean, do you know just the film industry out there in Australia, like how it's going or any information?
It's actually going pretty well. Like Australia does have a really
Oh,
strong
they do. Okay.
film industry. And I'm very fortunate to live right near one of the major production hubs
Yeah,
there.
really? Oh, wow.
So I don't know, it's just going to be reaching out, networking, finding people,
Yeah.
and seeing if I can get into it.
Well, I wish you the best in July that everything works out for you. And I do want to ask, like, for this short little time here in Las Cruces. Well, you're in Las Cruces. I was gonna say El Paso, but I'm in El Paso. What do you plan on doing before you leave the States? Anything fun? One last trip? Just so you're gonna go to Disneyland or something big that before.
Oh, well, I'm actually going to Disneyland next
Are
weekend
you really? Okay.
with some friends.
That's cool.
Yeah. I just want to see as much as I can,
Yeah.
of the area. I do have a couple of sets coming up while I am here, but
Okay.
that'll be a nice way to kind of see everyone again, get a last couple, some work in. But I do want to travel. I want to see Rio Doso. I've never been to Rio
Never
Doso.
been to
And
Ruidoso.
no. So
Wow.
one weekend, I'm setting that as the Rio Doso weekend.
Yes.
But yeah, I just want to make the most of it, honestly. Catch up with people, see everything. I need to go on a hike because everyone tells me you're supposed to hike in Las Cruces, so I need to do that. That's
That's
on the list.
true. Yeah.
So
You have
yeah,
good.
just making the most of it.
That's awesome. Well, I'm huge on Disney. I love Disneyland, and you're gonna have a great time. So
Mhm.
I do want to suggest when you get to Disneyland, go on Haunted Mansion. That's like one of the best rides. Of course, the Star Wars. You're probably a Star Wars fan as I am. The new Rise of the Resistance. That's a great ride. So there's so much to do there. It's amazing.
Oh, I'm so excited.
You never
Looking
been,
forward.
right? You never been to Disneyland at all?
I have been,
Oh, you have. Okay.
not in a while.
Okay.
So I'm
Okay.
excited to go back and have a weekend with some friends.
That's cool. Yeah, and also go to the beach. Check out the like
Yes.
beaches, Santa Monica or Venice, whichever around there. Rio Doso, I love Rio Doso. I feel like just the beauty of it. I've never been to Colorado, but it could be maybe similar. But yeah, I hope you enjoy your time out there.
Mhm.
Before we end the episode, I know we're a little early, but it's all right. We always want to get to know the guests just a bit. So like, what are one of your most favorite films maybe growing up, maybe to your teenage years when you always would watch it, you'd be like, oh, every time I watch it, I just want to either be an actress or, you know what I mean? Just on that part.
Oh, okay. I have two.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
So Mamma Mia is my all-time
Oh,
favorite
wow.
movie.
Okay.
Always loved it. I grew up watching it with my family, but I think as I got older, it was a film that made me realize you can have so much fun on a film set.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, like it doesn't have to be seen as a job. Like it is a job,
Yeah,
but it doesn't have to be seen as a super strict job. You can enjoy it. You can have fun.
right.
And so I just always loved that movie. It brings so much joy, but it also made me realize that that's what I want to do as a director. I want to make a movie that brings joy to people. You know, I want to be able to look in the audience and see people smiling. And that was one of my main things with Starcrossed. I was like, I want to make people smile. That's all I want. I don't want tears. I want smiles and laughs. And so that was a really big film, not only because I loved it, but because it was like I want to make something like this.
Right.
And then the other one was Pirates of the Caribbean,
Oh, yes. The
because
first one,
that's,
the very first one?
yeah, the
Okay.
first one, because that's one of the first movies I ever watched on the big screen. And I watched it with
Really?
my
Oh,
dad. And I immediately was like, oh my goodness, I need to learn all about this movie. And so I went through the rabbit hole of looking at all the behind the
oh,
scenes
wow.
and fell in love with the music and the costumes. And so that was probably the movie that made me want to go into film in the first place.
The Curse of the
So,
Black Pearl, right?
yep. So I'd say those two movies have had the biggest impact on me.
Dang. Well, good choices. Yeah, I remember seeing Mamma Mia. It's a great musical. It's a musical, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
based on ABBA, the
Hmm.
group ABBA. Yeah. But yeah, that's a good movie. Pirates, of course, the original is. But I saw it in theaters as well when it first came out, and I was like, oh my God, so cool. I want to go to Disneyland so I go on the ride. But yeah, the ride is actually cool. So once you go to Disneyland and you go on Pirates of the Caribbean. They did update it because it wasn't based. Well, the original. So before the Curse of the Black Pearl, they had the original Pirates ride, which is nothing to do with the movie. But now that the movie's been out and there's so much sequels, they've updated it where you see Johnny Depp in the ride. You see certain characters from the film, so it's pretty cool. Yeah, but yes, the movie is such a well-made movie. So. All right. So next is music artists. Which artists do you like of certain music? Pop, rock? What have you been listening to lately?
Honestly, a mix. I know that's a very cliche answer, but I could put my phone on shuffle and it could be musical theater, then it could be a
Oh,
Christmas song, then it could be
oh.
pop, then it could be like the rock from like the 80s, 90s. Big Australian rock fan, love In Excess.
Oh,
If I
heck
could go to
yeah.
one
There you
concert,
go.
it would have been theirs. But it
Wait, what was
honestly
that
just
last?
depends
What
on
did
the
you
mood
say the
I'm
last
in.
part? Sorry, I didn't catch
If
that.
I could be, if I could have gone to one concert in
Oh,
life, it would have been to an In Excess concert.
dang.
But unfortunately, no more. But yeah, it really just depends on the mood I'm
Oh,
in,
yeah.
honestly.
Well, you hit home on that NXS because I'm a fan of them as well.
Oh,
Oh,
they're awesome.
oh yeah. I mean, well, I don't know if like lately I've been listening to their last album,
Mhm.
which was I think in 2007, 8. With Pretty Vegas. Have you
Mhm.
heard that one? Yeah, that's a good song.
Yeah.
Great music video too. But yes, NXS is definitely one of my favorite 80s, along with
Hmm.
Depeche Mode. So yeah. Well, thank you, Georgia, for coming on Rhythm and Roads, sharing your journey. Anything you want to say before we go, just to your fans, to those that were so supportive of you?
I mean, just go for it. Like, you never know until you try. I mean, with Starcrossed, I just wanted to have so much fun. And I wanted my crew to have fun. And I met so many people through the experience. And it just ended up being just a great time, and the fact that it's getting a message across to people and that people are enjoying it is more than I ever could have thought.
Wow.
And that's all because I just saw a script, I liked it, and I thought, why not give it a go?
Yeah.
So you really never know unless you try. So just go for it.
Yeah, well said. You never know. And I apologize, did not see the film. Uh I was like, I don't know, is there a way to see the film like for other people that haven't seen it, or is it going to be on YouTube or
We're submitting it to a couple more festivals,
okay.
but once we go through those, then I'll probably pop it up onto a public YouTube channel. So they'll be away soon.
There'll be ways, okay. And for those to follow you, the viewers to follow you on social media, how can they find you?
Yes, just through George.T007. It's a very old username, but yeah, that's the only thing I'm really active on at the moment. But
All
yeah,
right, sounds good. Well, thank you so much for being on Rhythm and Roads, sharing your journey, and we wish you the best coming up in July, moving back home, being with your friends and family. And congrats again on Starcross, you and your team. Like incredible
thank
accomplishment.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
No, yeah, pleasure. All right, guys, and thank you for watching. We will catch you on the next episode.